Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Kujantam Rama Rameti Maduram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayotha Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam Veda Vedye Pare Pumse Jate Dasharathatmaje Veda Prachetasa Dasit Sakshat Ramayanatmanaha. Hare Krishna, welcome back. So last week was a little, I felt rushed, and I felt that I didn't do full justice to, I mean, not that I can do full justice today, but I didn't spend enough time and I guess details to help us, help myself with a particular topic that many of us, or all of us, all living entities in this world are afflicted by. They are somehow or the other influenced by it, and different people respond differently. And we want to understand, perhaps, here's one way of considering it when each one of us either have previously or are currently or will definitely in the future will face what is called adversity or some challenging circumstance. And the context is, as we've been discussing, Lord Ramachandra is ready to go to the forest, and he has taken the order of Dasharath Maharaj, as we familiar with the phrase, as one's life and soul. And his presentation of his reason for accepting it is he considers it Daivam. And I'm going to use the word fate or destiny or providence all synonymously today. Sometimes we make a little analysis of some difference among them. But for today, providence, Daivam, fate, destiny, they all mean the same. And Lord Ramachandra says that when fate manifests in one's life, certain challenges or circumstances, then a human being really cannot do anything. Okay, when he means, what he means is not, I shouldn't say not do anything. He says one should learn to accept what fate brings in one's life. And Lakshmana challenges that, and he says, no, there is human effort. A human being, by one's determination, by one's effort, can and should counteract what fate brings to one. One should not just, quote unquote, take it lying down. Do something. So where we left off last week is there are two sides of it. It seems, for a casual reading or by a casual reading, it seems that when fate manifests, whatever it manifests, one should do nothing. It's possible Ramachandra's words could be misconstrued or understood in that way. And the other end of the continuum is where Lakshmana says, no, just don't sit there, do nothing, but do whatever you can to counteract it. The question is how to consider. And so what we discussed last week was, think of it as an internal dialogue that every person goes through. Should I do something? Should I do nothing? Should I do nothing? Should I do something? Etc. So here's a little bit more analysis. Okay. And before we get to that, let's enter a little bit more in the apparent contradiction I had brought up, that Ramachandra does not want to fight to take the kingdom, although Lakshmana believes rightfully belongs to him, and rightfully belongs to him because he was announced to be the crown prince. And yet in Ramachandra says, no, one should not fight it, just accept it. And in the next incarnation as Krishna, he tells Arjuna, no, you cannot just go to the forest, you fight for it. And I had said, well, on the one hand, he didn't fight for it, but he asked Arjuna to fight. So we'll consider that a little bit. So that's where we're starting with. So there are some reasons why, although it seems contradicting, actually, in fact, well, I'll hopefully try to demonstrate today. In fact, both are exactly similar messages, except in one case, Ramachandra goes away to the forest. In another case, exactly the same instruction, just manifested that Arjuna has to fight for it. So here's where the so-called distinctions begin to fade. And this is not an exhaustive list. As Vaishnavas, I request all of you to take this, consider, and add to the list. And if you like, you're welcome to share. So first of all, Arjuna was running away from his duty. And his duty was identified by the Supreme Lord and Shastra. He's a Kshatriya. His duty was to make sure that dharma is protected. But he was opting for the forest instead of standing up for his duty. In this case, Ramachandra wants to fulfill his duty. What is his duty? Not to fight and take the kingdom, but to fulfill the order of his father, guru, king. All happen to be the same person. Okay. So, and here also it is indicated by Shastra that this is your dharma. So one had to fight, Arjuna had to fight to follow dharma. Ramachandra retired to the forest to follow dharma. Somehow I get sneezing just as 10 o'clock on Sundays. I don't know why it is. Then here are some words that Krishna used and that Lakshmana also used. First was cowardice, clybium. So where does clybium or cowardice come from? It's the fear of consequences. And Arjuna expressed, here's a list of all the consequences. My gosh, they're all horrendous. I don't want such consequences. I don't want, some were personal, some were general. So that fear of consequences, that is Arjuna's hesitation. And this fear of consequences, in Arjuna's case, comes from worldly considerations. Ramachandra's considerations of hesitation come from a higher state. They come from dharma. Lord Ramachandra's fear or concern is, if I don't follow dharma, then look at all the negative consequences that will befall the Ikshvaku dynasty. Now from Lakshmana's side, who's taking on the role of a ordinary observer, they look very similar. They look like cowardice. But that's not the case. The distinction is Arjuna's considerations were from a different set of values that were much lower. They were not on the basis of dharma. Ramachandra's hesitation was on the basis of dharma. So that's one, cowardice, klaibyam. Second, renunciation. Arjuna's renunciation of the kingdom is based on some aversion. And we know from Bhagavad Gita, attraction and aversion are very much the same things, just different sides of the same coin. So that aversion is on the basis of the consequences, the aversion that what is the point in all of this? I will not have anyone to enjoy with, so much bloodshed. Is it required really? I don't want to do it. Okay. Ramachandra's renunciation is again on the basis of duty. So we know that there, according to Rupa Goswami, we have definitions of what he calls Falgu Vairagya, that which is not complete or not correct or illusory, and actual renunciation. So the first one, he says, Prapanchikataya Buddhya. Prapanchikataya Buddhya, the phrase means where one's intelligence makes considerations on the basis of worldly factors. Prapanchikataya Buddhya. Hari Sambandhi Vastunaha. So things that are related to Hari. In this case, it was the instruction of Hari. Please fight for the kingdom so that Yudhishthir Maharaj can be the king. And Arjuna said, no, I don't want to fight. Mumukshubhihi parityagaha. He was desirous of liberation. He said, what is the use? What is the use of even getting heavenly realms? I don't want them. I'd rather take a begging bowl and go away to the forest. This is mumukshubhi parityagaha. The giving up or renouncing, desiring liberation as liberation from the pain of the consequences of following dharma. So vairagyam phalgu katyate. This is not correct renunciation. On the other hand, Ramachandra's renunciation is anasaktasya vishayan. Vishayan is the rajyam, the kingdom, to sit on the throne that the great Ikshvaku kings have sat and ruled. Anasaktasya vishayan. Instead, yatarham upayunjata. So he said, well, my qualification to be the king, I need a little bit more development. So rather, this is a great opportunity to go to the forest, perform austerities, and associate with saintly persons. So 14 years later, I will be the king, not now. So anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjataha nirbandha krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam mukshate. So the sense of renunciation was, let me engage myself in elevating myself. This is a great opportunity that I have received. That's another factor. Third one, if Arjuna did not fight, then Yudhishthir Maharaj would not become king because they would not win the war. Then Dharma, and Yudhishthir Maharaj is called Dharmaraja, so Dharma will have no place to take shelter. Because in Bhagavatam we hear, when Krishna left, the sages asked, well, when Krishna is there, Dharma has shelter. And when the great sages are there, they're called Tirtha, because the religious principles or spiritual principles take shelter of such great persons. So they say, well, when Krishna left, Dharma, Jnana, Adibhi, Saha, he left with Dharma, Jnana, etc. So if Yudhishthir Maharaj is not the king, Dharma has no shelter. All right? And if Dharma has no shelter, then the entire human race will become degraded. So Arjuna had to fight. In Ramachandra's kingdom, If Lord Ramachandra fought and became the king, saying, no, Dasarath promised, I'm the first, oldest son, this kingdom belongs to me, this is my right, and if he fought it, then Ramachandra would have violated dharma, because that is not dharma. Order, following the order was his dharma. Okay, so when if Ramachandra fought, then dharma would leave. They would leave Ayodhya. And the way dharma would leave Ayodhya is forever in history. Dasarath Maharaja's name would be a black stain on the pure white Ikshwaku line, and that the stain is Dasarath Maharaj was untruthful and untrustworthy. And so protecting truthfulness is very, very, very important. So we hear the famous verse in the 5th canto, Yasyasti bhakti bhagavat kinchana sarvair gunair tatra samasate suraha. The one who has bhakti, pure bhakti in the heart, Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati, unto the Supreme Lord, sarvair gunair, all the great qualities reside with him. And this bhakti is in a day-to-day feature manifest as living the principles given by the Supreme, right? We know dharmam tu shakshat bhagavat pranitam. Living them is bhakti. So therefore Lord Ramachandra should not fight. So now comes the big topic of fate. Okay, so I'm developing this topic. I would like to write an essay. I haven't framed my ideas. I just have some bullet points. So what I'm going to share with you is still developing, but it is worthy of some consideration by all of you, if you so desire. So the topic is, or the title is, Fate, Resist or Desist. Should we fight it, or should we just let it happen? So I'm going to take you into Yuddha Kanda. Ravana has been killed, and all his queens come rushing out of the palace, led by Mandodari, and they are all crying, sitting around Ravana's body, and they're glorifying, eulogizing Ravana's greatness. And Mandodari also has a whole list of verses glorifying and chiding Ravana for his actions. But they all say one particular, they accept one principle. And that's the verse I'm going to share with you as a sort of the context for this. So they say, Naivarthan na kamane, Naivarthan na kamena, Vikramena cha agya, Shakya daiva gatir loke, Nivartayutum udyata. Udyata means when it is ready to bear fruit. Very simple translation is the course of destiny, daiva gati. When ready to bear fruit, udyagata, cannot be diverted. Okay. Na shakyaha nivartaya. You cannot be diverted. You cannot move the course of fate. And what are ways in which people counteract it? They say cannot be done by money. Na arthaya. You cannot buy your way out of the course of fate. Na kamena, or by wishing it. Oh, please let it go away. Let it go away. It doesn't go away. Na vikramena. You cannot say, all right, I think I have enough power to resist and fight fate. How much ever valorous one person is, including even to the extent of Ravana, he died. Okay. Or nacha agya You cannot demand or command fate, stop, don't proceed. I don't want you to show up at my door. You cannot stop that also. So this is how the queens were lamenting. So these people try these 4 or 5 things: money, desiring or wishing it to go away, by valor, or even commanding it. So here's the verse one more time. Naiva arthena na kamena vikramena chagya cha na cha agya shakya daiva gatir loke nivartayum nivartayitum udyata. Loke means in this world, by people in general. So then the question is, here are some considerations about fate or destiny or daiva gati. Krishna uses this phrase daiva gati many times in the Bhagavad Gita. So he says karmana daiva netrena, that everyone's karma is being supervised, allotted, distributed and executed by daiva. So how fate is acting in one's life cannot be deciphered. So many people ask the question, why? And from Bhagavad Gita's perspective, or generally the Vedic perspective, that's a wrong question to ask. Nobody can answer why. No human being can. Daiva can, but we don't have access to Daiva. So asking why is this happening is a false or useless question. Okay. But many people ask, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? Why cannot be asked? Because Daiva is such a massive force and has so much history behind it that we don't have access to. That's one. Second, despite many attempts, okay, different kinds, like the verse was saying, whether by money or by wishing it or by facing it up or commanding it or whatever, the situation may not change for a considerable period of time. Or it happens as a, Lord Ramachandra uses the word akasmat. It happens when you are not expecting it. These are symptoms of how fate is acting. One, it happens even despite attempts for it to go away. It happens for a considerable period of time. It has great consequences, and it happened when you were not expecting anything like that. It happens, we say yadrichaya, suddenly or on its own accord. Then the question is, what does human effort, what role does human effort play? Do nothing, do something, or do anything? What are the options? So our teaching is that human effort should be there. Okay. So when we hear Lakshmana is like, fight it, that's not what is human effort. Lord Ramachandra is saying, don't, or it at least seems like he's saying, don't do anything. That is also not correct. Actually, Lord Ramachandra is doing something in response to the turn of events or the movement of fate. So we have to do something. The question is what to do or how to do. So when should one exert human effort is what I'm going to describe in at least 3 cases. When something happens and one considers, should I respond or not respond, then here are 3 considerations to respond. First, always respond when we have to protect one of these 3. The first one we want to protect is dharma. Okay. Whenever we see that so-called fate is acting on us or in a situation, human beings, we as human beings should not just sit there and say what to do, that is just fate. Our action must always be to protect dharma first. So here are some examples, not exhaustive list. First, Chand Kazi did not want any Sankirtan in Navadvip. But in Kali Yuga, that is the Dharma. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not just tell everyone, Prabhu, we tried to do Harinam. The Chand Kazi doesn't like it. Just go home and sit there and do nothing. No, he gathered everyone and went to Chand Kazi. He called it the non-cooperation movement. But he went to Chand Kazi and fought, if you will, fought for the right or for the dharma of Harinam Sankirtan. It's important, and that should be preserved and protected. Or take the Kurukshetra war. Millions of people had to die, but dharma had to be protected. So that doesn't justify killing. Lord Krishna wanted to relieve the earth of all adharmic people. So anyone siding with Duryodhana were all removed from the planet Earth for establishing Yudhishthir Maharaj and giving dharma a shelter there. Okay. Another example. Ramachandra, who gave up his own kingdom, killed Vali and put Sugriva on the throne. Ramachandra could have told Sugriva, listen buddy, I left everything and went to the forest. You should also just live in the forest. No. Vali was adharmic. To remove him was his duty. So Lord Ramachandra didn't tell Sugriva, just accept it. He made Sugriva the king. So there is a lot of so-called paradoxes, but the way we try to remove that haziness or nebulousness is through understanding that for the protection of dharma, one should take some action. So protect dharma. Next, protect dharmika, the devotees. No harm. So anyone who's dharmic must be protected. So Narasimhadev appeared from the pillar to protect Prahlad. Narasimhadev didn't tell Prahlad, it's your fate. So what, your father just turned out to be like this, suffer it, and nothing will happen. He came. Ramachandra killed Tataka, Subahu, to protect the dharmikas who were performing yajna for the benefit of the entire region. Or Lord Ramachandra entered Dandaka forest and he declared, I came here to protect you. I came here to give you my association. And he took on the responsibility of fighting all the demons in Dandaka to protect the sages there. And etc. Many examples. A third reason for acting or doing something is to protect Atma. Okay. The self. Now, of course, Atma nainam chindanti shastrani. Here it means that protect one's own bhakti. One should do something. Okay. Especially if the circumstance or whatever turn of events puts one's Atma or Atma Karya in jeopardy, then one must do something to protect it. So Vidura example, Vidura left for pilgrimage. He didn't. He could have fought Duryodhana. He just went to pilgrimage. Or Srila Prabhupada, so advanced in his bhakti, became ill and the doctor said, well, he needs to walk. He needs to walk, he needs to take massages, otherwise it will deteriorate. Now, Prabhupada had certain objectives, the spreading of the Krishna consciousness movement, and to make sure that he is there, he's present to fulfill the order of his spiritual master. So he took care of his own health, which is not required. In fact, very, very advanced persons, they don't consider these things. Like Jesus, he didn't necessarily protect himself, right? It was not even a consideration. Haridas Thakur was whipped in 22 marketplaces. He didn't say, I have to protect myself. But when he was told, stop, you're a Muslim, you should not be chanting those Hindu names. He said, no, I cannot, although you're the king, I can understand your order, but that's not something I can follow, because how can you stop the soul from doing something that is so natural to himself, etc. So I'm not saying Prabhupada is any less or anything. I'm giving examples of how, depending upon the situation, different acharyas will do something. And in their own accord, they are not really caring for their own body, but they want to protect the bhakti, the Krishna consciousness. Okay, so those are three factors. Now we're going to look at something interesting. So those are the three considerations. First one was fate cannot be easily deciphered. Despite attempts, many attempts, the situation does not change for a considerable period of time. Does human effort play any role? And then we looked at three subcategories under that. Fourth, any attempt to stop or avert the movement of fate is futile. Okay, so one should not even try to counteract it. First of all, one doesn't even know that fate is working. Only the consequences will manifest it, but the response is to avert it. One cannot be averted. It cannot be averted. And I'm going to walk you through a Bhagavatam verse and show you word by word how these are true. Okay. Maybe I should do it with the verse. So there are many verses in Bhagavatam that will perhaps address this. I picked 10th canto, chapter 14, verse number 8, which is famous and also popular among devotees. This is from Lord Brahma's prayers, and beautiful verse, Tattenu kampam susamikshamana bhunjana eva kritam vipakam hrid vag vapurbhir vidadan namaste jivetaya mukti padesvadaya bhak. That the translation is, my dear Lord, one who earnestly awaits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So we're going to take pieces from this verse and apply to the different expressions of how a devotee should respond to the manifestation of Daivam in one's life. So first we said, you cannot avert or you cannot stop the movement of fate. And if you try, it's a futile exercise. So the phrase in the verse is, Atma Kritam Vipakam. The word Vipakam comes from the root pak, which means to ripen. Apakva means not yet ripened. So Vipakam means it's when it has matured, it has ripened. What has ripened? Atmakritam. The actions, the reactions of what I have done previously have now fully matured. So one knows that I cannot change it, because that is how karma or this fate works. I have done something. I may not know what it is. I've done something. And that's what is manifesting right now. Atmakritam Vipakam. Okay. So Atmakritam also indicates that it's in one's own life. So when something happens to me, these are my considerations. But when something happens to someone else, I don't say, oh, that is your Atmakritam Vipakam. That is that person's own realization. I cannot tell someone, just tolerate it. It's your own fate. Okay. Because then the difference is we become hard-hearted when we point to others that is your fate. We look at it in our own life. For others, we try to embalm, we try to offer some tenderness, we try to offer some soothing words or actions that makes that person cope with their own Atmakritam Vipakam. Okay. Then it says Vipak. I said Vipakam is maturing. So Ramachandra, here's a separate consideration. For Ramachandra, this Atma Kritam Vipakam is not the previous misdeeds, but the previous promises that he had made. He told the demigods, I will come and protect all of you, and I will take care of Ravana. So as soon as Dasarath Maharaj told him, go to the forest, it is Atma Kritam, the previous promise that he made to the demigods, Vipakam. He saw that it had matured and time for him to go to the forest. Now, as devotees, we find different ways and means by which we try to cope with the movement of fate. And because I said as devotees, because other people, though those who don't have, unfortunately, not yet the grace of the parampara, who don't have the Hare Krishna mantra, who don't have a relationship with Krishna and his devotees, they cope with it in different ways. Alcohol, drugs, something really very mundane. But the way devotees cope is different. And that coping is called bhunjana in this verse. One learns to cope with it. This bhunjana, the coping is that we take shelter of the process of bhakti. Now, some people like to chant, some people like kirtan, some people like to read, some people like to hear, some people like to do deity worship. Whatever is the feature of bhakti that gives them solace, strength, grit, this is bhunjana. That's one. Second, as devotees, we try to become strong through grace, not through any other way. We have to become strong through grace to endure it. So this bhunjana is to endure. How do we become strong through grace? We call out to Krishna's merciful, graceful nature. Tat te anukampam. Anukampana is the feeling of compassion or grace. And we're calling, Lord Brahma is showing us, because he's the acharya of our line, we follow what he shows. He says, Tat te anukampam. I need your grace. So we become strong through grace. Third, when we are going through a particular situation, however difficult the situation, we try and maintain or develop a long-term view. And the long-term view would be, how would I like to come out of this situation when I'm on the other end? When the challenge goes away, and I can look at myself, how would I like to come out on the other end? If I come back or come out weaker, my faith diluted, my shelter taking diluted, then this challenge hasn't given me the opportunity to grow and become stronger. So I maintain a long-term view. Somehow or the other, I want to come out better, stronger, more grateful on the other end of this situation. Okay? And that long-term view can be understood as mukti pade, that when I am free of this situation, mukti pada, I am liberated of those things that were holding me back. And daibhag, it becomes my rightful claim. What is that rightful claim? My access to Krishna's lotus feet, my access to deeper realizations. It's there, that gift is there waiting on the other side of those things that hold us down or anchor us down. Another thing, the fourth thing we can do, reflect and introspect on what we are learning from the challenge that we are going through. What are we learning? What are we learning about ourselves, most importantly? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Where are the places that we very easily break? What are those things? Okay, what are those challenges? And that careful examination is susamikshamana. So actually, ikshamana means to patiently look forward to. So susamikshamana in this case is to look within. Ikshamana, parikshit means one who examines very carefully. So susamikshamana, sama iksha is to take a full, thorough examination of oneself. Next, fifth one. While through the challenge, with the help of our own intelligence or someone else's intelligence, we ask ourselves, how best can I align myself with what life is bringing to me? So this alignment is called Hrid Vag Vapu, with my heart or mind, with my words, and with my deeds. So one of the things is to not blame fate. One of the things is to not blame circumstances, blame others, blame myself. Of course, I'm responsible. It's happening to me because I'm responsible for it, but not blame in the negative way and do nothing about it. Hrid Vag Vapu. These three we take to Krishna, right? And so the next item is we exercise our gratitude muscle. With Krishna, you are making it possible for me to become strong. You're making it possible for me to strengthen my faith. You're making it possible for me to become a very strong devotee in my heart, in my words, and in my actions. And that is called Vidadhan Namaste. This constantly praying. Vidadhan Namaste. So this verse shows us the different ways, the 6 ways in which we are to face and endure. When I say endure, generally the picture is to do nothing. No, we are supposed to do something. The question is what and how. Right? So I said a lot. I was speaking non-stop for 45 minutes or 42. Let me see if there are any comments or thoughts on the why, if we can understand why Ramachandra is doing what he's doing, and how Lakshmana is helping us understand that a human being's reflex nature is to fight it. And this is why this dialogue is there in Ramayana for us to examine and understand why Ramachandra is accepting the fate, but he's going to do something about it. Right? Maybe I'll say one more thing. There are other events that happen in Ramayana where Lord Ramachandra did not just say, yeah, it's okay, we'll accept it. Right? When Ravana kidnapped Sita, he just didn't say what to do. Fate is such. Took away my wife. He embarked on one of the most massive and intense wars that have ever been fought, and brought Sita back. Why? Because remember, protecting dharma, dharmika is very important. Okay. Questions, comments, discussion, your own reflections and realizations, please feel free to share.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
During reversal situation, as you said, like taking deep shelter becomes little stronger.
What becomes stronger?
Taking deep shelter.
Okay, great.
Little, at least, But as you said, when situation gets better for me, I feel like, that deep shelter is slackening. So what are the practical ways for me to maintain the same?
All right. So first of all, let's remove from our list all the impractical ways in which we can maintain, right? So now only talk about practical ways. The practical ways are these. When the wave, we have heard the phrase peaks and valleys. Peaks describe happy situations, valleys describe challenging situations. So when we are in peak, we perform bhakti happily, gratefully, and we gather strength. And when valleys come in, we draw on that strength. So I recently watched a video about polar bears. I like nature type videos. So polar bears. When it is feeding time, spring and summer, they feed like anything. They take in as much as they can because they know when winter comes, there won't be any food. They will be hibernating because they can't do anything about winter. And at that time, they have to draw upon all the energy that they have stored. So if there's no energy stored, then there is nothing to withdraw from. So it's important that any one of us who's riding the wave or on the peak knows I'm conserving, I'm keeping bhakti credits because the valley is coming very soon. And each time the valley can be of a different intensity. So I have something to draw upon. If I don't have anything to draw upon, then I'm cast away by the waves. That's a practical way. And if there's no motivation, then we also know that we're not putting in anything into our savings account that we can draw from. As human beings, especially as devotees, we study scripture. One of the reasons is to constantly keep us aware of the nature of this world. If we become unaware or distracted or negligent, then we lose out on an opportunity. And not to worry, more will come.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Uh, uh, so from what you explained, I understood that karma can be changed, but fate cannot be changed. Is it, Prabhuji?
What can be changed?
Karma can be changed, but we cannot change the fate. Is that right
Karma can be
understanding?
changed. Karma can be changed. Well, fate is Atma Kritam. It's the karma from past. Now, then is the whole dialogue of in a devotee's life, is it past karma or is it Krishna's intervention? Regardless, when we are calling fate means the force by which something happens that seemingly is adverse, that we may not know what it is, but it is there. It is there, facing us. Whatever it is, you can call it karma. Someone will call it Krishna's intervention. Put whatever name you want, but it comes with a massive force. Now, can fate in that sense be averted? Yeah, by process of bhakti, we say karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajan. Once previous karma is burnt away. So regardless, we're not talking about whether it is karma or any daivam in different ways. We're saying when an adversity is right here, sitting on our lap right now, how does one respond to it? The process of bhakti burns one's karma, sure.
We have to just face whatever the fate is, and we don't try to change anything.
Well, I just spent 45 minutes saying one cannot avert,
Yeah.
but one knows how to live. Here's Brahma is saying, Jivetayah, one who lives through it, enduring it, one who lives it with one's heart, body, and words. Lives it means endures it through the process of bhakti, seeking grace all along. Tatte Anukampa.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You told that in three situations you can fight if the fate is acting against you to protect Dharma, to protect Dharmic, and to protect Atma. In these three situations, you should respond. Now, we can understand to protect Dharma, we can understand to protect Dharmic, but when it comes to protect you, it seems to be a very selfish proposition because mostly the human nature is to protect himself first.
That's
He doesn't
okay.
think.
We're not talking in that order necessarily. We're talking three categories. Suppose we are, let's say someone contracts a disease, or I don't want to give drastic things, car accident, something happening. At that point, we call out Krishna's name, but we don't say, it's okay if I die. We want to protect ourselves. Why? Because I want to see if I have the opportunity of fulfilling and maturing my bhakti. I don't become irresponsible about my health, about my body. I don't take, I don't have to protect myself, so I don't have to take any medicine. That's an incorrect understanding. If the Atma, in this case, the body is the vehicle for the soul. If I destroy the vehicle, I cannot move. Yantra rudhani maya. This Atma cannot traverse through this life.
Sure, that's one way of looking. But if there is an argument, let's say, between like the mentor authorities or spiritual master and disciple might try to argue, putting himself to save Atma, that, hey, let me save myself. That's a selfish argument, probably. No, I'm sorry.
I don't know which disciple argues to save himself. Or
No,
else.
I'm not saying. I'm saying that some situation come and he wants to prove himself right, or he wants to save. Sure.
That is not protecting of Atma, that is defending of one's ahankara. That's not the same. Not the same. That is not Atma.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Anushri.
Prabhu, her mother.
Anushri's mother.
Prabhu, I wanted to understand, like as you mentioned, to protect dharma and the dharmic. So I feel like my consciousness is so colored that I cannot even ascertain what is dharma and who is dharmic, because right now I'm just so much absorbed in myself. What I feel right is dharma. Many times it goes like that. So how to like learn and progress in that direction? What is dharma and who is dharmic, like that?
So what is dharma? Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. What is dharma is learned by the process of hearing from one's spiritual master or spiritual masters, more accurately, from teachers. One has to learn to discern and find out what is dharma, what is the dharmic principle that one should honor here. Otherwise, we have a different idea of dharma. Here, just a little example. We think loyalty is the dharmic quality. We want to be loyal to Krishna. We want to be loyal to the devotees. In Karna and Duryodhana's case, their friendship was very strong out of loyalty for each other. Okay, but that loyalty became Karna's biggest flaw, that he could not follow dharma owing to his sense of loyalty. That was a stumbling block for him. Or Ekalavya, supposedly a Guru Bhakti, but that Guru Bhakti is... So what looks or what seems like a great quality actually can be a stumbling block in understanding dharma. That's why the verse is, I quoted earlier, was yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunair tatra samasate sura. All the demigods qualities manifest. But that verse also says harav bhakta. Harav abhakta. For a person who's not a bhakta, abhakta, harav, the mind steals away. What does it steal away? Mahat guna, all the great qualities supposedly they have are stolen away at the right point when they need to be really manifested. They're stolen away. The abhakti steals it away. The abhakti is very mundane considerations. So we learn dharma by studying Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. They set the framework, the safety net, the walking stick, the crutch, whatever you want to call it. That is what the floor below our feet is what we walk on. Dharma is the floor that a dharmika walks on.
Regular study of scriptures.
Study, hearing, and assimilating. And all the challenges that come are they're the time to manifest and practice those things. Otherwise, what's the point of hearing? So Jyotirmaya asked earlier, what's a practical way? Well, all the hearing, all the lessons, be humble, be gentle, be caring, whatever the instructions we have learned, and we have these heroes in the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana. When a challenge comes, that's the time to bring everything into the field of action. Hey, I learned about this, I learned about that quality, I learned about that devotee. How can I practice them? I need to show it. You know, if you have a cricket team or any team, the whole day they're doing net practice. One is practicing how to do pace bowling, swing, and all of that. Others batting skills. And if they don't demonstrate it when they're actually playing a match, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
We have to play a match to show what you have practiced. We have to have challenges and adversities to show ourselves and to demonstrate to Krishna and the world that, hey, I've come for this game now, this match. If I lose, I go back and I analyze where did I lose. So next match, I'm hopefully better prepared.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Anand Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam. Prabhu, I have one question. So, how it can possible that Ravan could kidnap Mother Sita from Panchavatika to Lanka? Because we all know that Mother Sita was not ordinary woman. Like, and I heard once Mother Sita removed the great Shiva Dhanush to one place to other place. I heard like this. I don't know it is true or not, but she was like so brave and so powerful, Mother Sita. So how it is possible? It is like a pre-planned that Mother Sita knew that in future Ramayana whole Ramayana Yudh will happen, fight will happen, and Ravan will kill. Or
I have a question for you. Would you be okay if we come to this topic when we come to Panchavati? Right now, we are having difficulty leaving Ayodhya right now. Okay? There's a lot of dialogue whether or not we should leave Ayodhya. And even Ramachandra is having difficulty leaving Ayodhya yet. Okay? He has not even come to speak to Sita yet.
yes.
He's going to challenge him why she's not going with him. So let's take care of Ayodhya problems first. And when Sita Devi speaks, there is a hint as to why Ravana will carry her away. And then slowly we'll enjoy 13 years in Chitrakoot when Ramachandra and Sita Devi are in the river and the lakes sporting and throwing water at each other and enjoying the fruits and flowers. And then when they come to Panchavati, that's when we'll bring up this topic. Is that okay with you?
Yes, Prabhuji, 100%.
Right
Thank
now,
you.
poor Ramachandra is struggling. Who all are going to go to
Yes,
the forest with him?
yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Sarvabhauma Das.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhuji, one quick question is, as you understand, in case of, as you have already discussed, the point is when adversary comes, the action by a certain person, isn't it proportional to the surrender one has towards Lord? For example, during Second World War, as we hear that Srila Prabhupada used to say that he was fearless and he was saying, if the bomb comes from top, I will understand as if it is like Krishna is coming as bomb. Whereas for a person who doesn't have too much of faith would consider, okay, let me look for shelter, go for a bunker or something. So isn't it proportional to the level of faith and surrender? So that's what I wanted.
No, not necessarily, because as far as taking shelter of Krishna is concerned, anything in the past does not play a role. It's at that moment one who can take shelter. And taking shelter of Krishna does not require strength from the past. It can be very, very immediate. There are a lot of people whose lives are threatened and they never took shelter of Krishna, and they suddenly can become extremely, extremely surrendered. Okay, I can give you one or two examples. The first example that comes to mind is Bilva Mangal Thakur. He was going in the middle of a hurricane that was devastating everything. He followed all, I mean, he somehow met all challenges and went to Chintamani's house. And Chintamani said, if you had even a little bit of interest in Krishna this way, imagine where you would have been. And that was enough. That little thing was enough to completely surrender to Krishna. So there are many stories like that. So it's not necessary. What is required is, yes, at that right moment, someone to give the right instruction. In this case, it was Chintamani. In many cases, whoever. That's the person, the divine intervention or the possibility that they can hear something and or they have heard something, or somehow or the other it comes at that time. Gajendra, another example, fought for 1,000 years and suddenly realized, man, I got to take shelter of Krishna, forget all of this.
Thank you, Prabhu. So I'm understanding this as Dadami Buddhi Yogam, that part, isn't it?
Yeah. In our verse, it is Tatya Anukampam. Interestingly, in that verse section of Dadami Buddhi Yogam, as soon as Krishna says Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, Yena Mam Upayante, you know what's the next word? Next verse has that word, Anukampam. So, very important term, Anukampam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Any other question, comment?
Hare Krishna. This is Sachi Sutadas.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, is this a natural tendency of the mind to try and attempt before taking a shelter? You know, I see in scriptures, and you also said like Gajendra fought 1,000 years and then decided. Is that a pattern of a mind to try on its own before even thinking that I need to take a shelter?
Yeah, obviously, because we started with the verse that the queens of Ravana are saying that a human being And Lakshmana is posing that paradigm, that fight it, don't just take it passively. So we have, that's called conditioned nature. Conditioned nature means to throw whatever resources we have at averting the situation. So arthena, money, kamena, by desire, vikramena, by valor, or agya, by commanding it. Stop, it should not happen. Shakya na, daiva gatir loke. It's not possible. That's the conditioned nature. The reflex is what we're talking about. The reflex is such to think that I somehow need to counteract this by my strength. So we develop our reflex differently. I'll tell you something. I mean, it's a negative example. When the police are trained, right? They are trained the same way to sort of carry their gun and go through a course and be able to recognize a friend or foe or whatever, that the good guy, bad guy. They do it multiple times. They do it multiple times such that when the difficult situation actually comes from all that practice, there is something called muscle memory. They don't have to think. Their nervous system reflexes act in such a way that is used to a pattern. So we are conditioned by life for millions and millions of lives, that muscle memory, if you will, of a particular type. So our bhakti process, getting up, chanting, worshipping the deity, studying Prabhupada's books, hearing, all of this is to develop a new muscle memory.
Right.
There's no muscle, there's the bhakti muscle memory, such that when difficulty comes, even if you don't think about it, that muscle memory will say Krishna or Ramachandra or something that will draw us towards, or we consider that, oh, what is Krishna trying to teach me here? But our past muscle memory is very strong. So we are putting on new memories on top of it, or new impressions, samskara as we call them.
Right. Thank you,
So
Prabhu.
conditioned nature, yes.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You said, wow, it's echoing.
Are you calling from the heavens?
You said, wow,
This is like Yoga Maya speaking to Kamsa.
Okay, you can hear me better now?
Ah, yes.
Okay. You said strength, our strength is the grace. But then we are also asked, we don't dump our intelligence and skills and all other stuff, but then, so how to reconcile the two?
I already said it earlier, that we find ways and means to cope with the movement of fate, bhunjana. So the word bhunjana is there in the verse, and the phrase tattenukampam is also in the verse. So we grace doesn't mean I just sit there and something moves me. Grace gives me the intelligence, the physical strength, the mental capacity, the endurance to bring into the field of action what I need to do. Mai anusmaram yudhyacha is what Krishna told Arjuna. Think of me and fight. He didn't say just think of me. Sit there on the chariot and think of me. Think of me and fight. Nor did he say just fight. Don't think of me. Both are there. Grace and effort.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol, Balaram Prasad.
Haribol Prabhu. Connecting to this question, I was thinking, maybe please correct me, if Arjuna, as long as Krishna was there, with that skills and grace, he was able to fight. After Krishna left, even though with that skills, he was not able to even defeat, there are so many in the Bhagavatam, I forgot
Exactly.
so how that, because Krishna is not there, so even though skills were there, he lost that strength.
The skill didn't come to his help because the grace was not there.
Yeah. So is that a right thought?
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stira, you're okay with that?
So are we saying that skills come to play because of grace?
I don't know. If you want to complicate it by language. We have, as a human being, we have our working senses. They need to be used. Rishikena. In what? Rishikesha Sevanam. They have to be engaged. How to engage our working senses and knowledge acquiring senses in the service of Rishikesha needs grace. Grace is the prime mover. Otherwise, we would use the senses in a different way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
All right. Should we pause? Now is it a little clearer why Ramachandra is going to the forest and what his, of course, I'm not claiming that I know what Ramachandra's heart is saying. It's just studying and analyzing from Prabhupada's grace that Lakshmana's position is the position of the conditioned person. Okay. All right. So we'll pause here. And next week, Ramachandra and Sita Devi are going to have this conversation. Fascinating conversation. We'll try to cover as much as we can. I'm not going to rush through it. It's okay. In some cases, we may have to, like in this case, we took 1 or 2 verses and we dug deeper, not deep, deeper. And we'll also do the same. Until then.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you very much for the class. It was so wonderful. It was really deepest. So thank you so much. I was very practical, and I really am grateful for all the forays into the depths of the verses here. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivram. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So as we go on the week, we understand that each one of us have faced, are facing, or definitely will face some major movements of fate. And they all don't have to crush us into becoming devastated. We have the calling out to Tatte Anukampam. We have Samikshamana, looking in and just enduring through using our heart, minds, and words. So may Ramachandra bring or allow for his grace to flow, Anukampam, into our lives, so we may feel strong, energized, grateful, and happy. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.